I've not taught my students how to like use their voices in a powerful way. I've taught them some critical thinking, but I never taught them how to critique my thinking, how to say, I'm not 100% sure that what you're saying right now is right, and I want to challenge you on it. I never taught them to do that. And so as a first year teacher, I swung the pendulum way in the other direction. I made everything the rest of that spring about empowering my students' voices and getting them to take ownership of their learning. And so at one point I asked them, "So what do you guys want to do? This is your moment. What kind of work do you want to do together?" And they said, "We want to make a music video." I said, "Great. Let's do that. What kind of music video? What do you want to make a music video about?" And they said, story problems. I said, "Oh my God, you guys are such nerds." Oh, all right, fine. Story problems. That's great. This is your video. You're in charge. What song do you want to use? And they kind of hashed it out, and they finally said this. We want to use a One Direction song. I was like, oh God, I couldn't imagine anything worse. But again, this is theirs. I turned ownership of it to them, and I said, okay, you can do this, but you have to make me a promise. So we will at some point work into the lyrics of this song that you're in charge of your learning. You make it about story problems, but you want to like really emphasize the fact that you are in charge of your learning, and that's what the thesis of this project that you're going to do. And they said, okay, okay, okay. And they went forward. They wrote this thing. At that point, I didn't know how to teach them to like film it, so I held the camera, and with a student, I helped cut it together, and they made this music video about story problems, and it's fantastic, and inspired a lot of people. They were very convincing that their method of solving story problems is the best. And one of the things that they do is they cross out, and I taught them this in that spring. They cross out the names of whoever's in the story problem because kids will get tripped up by the names, and they write their own names. So every story is about them, you know. It's not like Billy's in a laboratory. It's, you know, a Boston's in a laboratory and he's doing this work. And we also read this poem Invictus by William Ernest Henley, and the best two lines from that poem are, "I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." And I was like, those are great lines. You should write something like that and put it into your story problem song. And they just lifted those two lines, put it right into the song. But hearing 11-year-olds sing, you know, we're the masters of our fates, captains of our souls. It was just the most beautiful thing ever, and I became addicted. That was it. I was hooked, and from then on, I calmed back down. I didn't go crazy for the rest of my career about empowering student voices, but I did make a commitment to it. And from then on, the main question that I've always asked myself is, instead of asking how much content can kids consume in 1 year, I now ask how much content can my kids create in 1 year with me? And now I'm committed to try and convince other teachers to do the same, because I've seen the incredible power it's had in my students' lives and in my professional life. And I just want to share the joy. I want everyone to experience how fun it is to see your kids not as students in class, but as creators at work.